Hello, this is Tim Hellman.
And Rob Gandara.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the movie Les Miserables. It's the first time they've adapted the musical play into a feature film, and the play is adapted from an 1862 novel by Victor Hugo, and it's set in the 19th century France, and it centers on a character named Jean Valjean, played by Hugh Jackman, and he's released from prison, he breaks his parole, and he moves to another town and becomes mayor. And one of his employees is let go, and she is a kid, and she ends up prostituting on the streets and becomes ill, and he finds out that he's somewhat responsible for it, and so he agrees to take care of her kid as she's dying, her daughter Cosette. He raises till she's an adult, and the rest of the movie centers on her love with the revolutionary fighter and the inspector who released him, trying to track him down. So, what did you think?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I from beginning to the end, I was just captivated. Very powerful, very emotional. I saw the play, I think it was in New York.
Really?
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Okay.
But I really didn't remember any of it, so I have a better impression of it from the movie than I actually did seeing it live. And it might be because we didn't have the best seats, because I think we got cheap seats and got in the back or something. But it totally connected with me in the movie theater. So.
I had never seen any other versions or read the book or anything, but I had heard a lot of the major songs several times before.
Yeah,
but
the melodies are definitely familiar.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the music. I loved most of the performances. I wasn't prepared for it to be all singing, but I thought they would have some breaks where there was dialogue.
I had a feeling it was going to be all singing just because that's the way it is when it's performed live.
Yeah,
so
but it's a movie adaptation, though. But
it's not My Fair Lady or anything.
Yeah.
Really. But it was definitely in your face. You're like really close to these people, which is probably not an experience I've ever had with the musical before. This camera work was just in and out and all over the place. So I was really impressed with how they pulled it together.
Most of the people had really good voices, and some people complain about Russell Crowe.
I thought he was great.
I thought he was fine.
I thought because his character needed to sweat during the movie, and his voice needed to sometimes sound like he thought he was super confident, but maybe in the back of his mind he wasn't as confident as he wanted to be. So his character tries to be the absolute good is good and bad is bad and right is right and wrong is wrong, and it doesn't matter what your true intentions are, you broke the law and you must pay.
But I liked his performance and his voice was fun.
I thought
he's in a rock and roll band. So
I thought he was casted perfectly for it. And there's a lot of, they did really well with a lot of the premonition stuff, like sing about stuff early. I mean, it's like any musical or opera, if you're reading the signs, you know what's going to happen. And even though I'd seen it 10 years ago, I forgot it, I still was kind of beginning to guess what was about to go on. So
yeah, it's definitely a tragedy.
Yeah, everyone dies.
Yeah. It should be more depressing, but because the music's so powerful, I think it was.
Yeah, I did.
Still somewhat.
I did cry, not at the.
I cried a couple times.
I cried one time hard, but I didn't cry when everyone thought you were supposed to cry.
During Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, during the first her soliloquy.
She probably was my favorite performance. Hugh Jackman was really good too, though.
Yeah, he was solid. He was the foil that everyone played off of. So.
Yeah. Samantha Barks, who also played the part in the 25th anniversary concert.
Yeah,
she was really good. Yeah. The weakest link I thought was Amanda Seyfried, but her character didn't have
that
much to it. But I heard in the book the women parts are bigger.
Oh, really?
Someone was complaining that they kind of shortened the women parts too much for the play originally also. But
yeah. I mean, they all die, but it's the order that I think is tricky.
They don't all die.
Yes, well, yeah, okay. There's a I'm sure they'll die one day too, though.
Oh, yeah. So. Well, we all do die.
Yeah.
Something.
They did speak with British accents whenever the singing would transgress into more dialogue, even though they never had any dialogue. And I'm studying French, so I would have preferred a little more French accents.
The original play, which debuted in 1980, it was in French originally.
Right.
So how many stars would you give it out of 5?
It's really close to the 5, just because on what it was doing and how advantageous, how adventurous they went with it with a new way. I mean, it was all recorded.
Live on set.
Yeah, on set.
They just had a piano accompaniment in their hair.
And then they rather than dubbing in the voices over orchestra and then acting to lip syncing, they had the orchestra play along with what they were singing live, which I thought was really cool. Can you do like 4 3/4?
Yeah.
Okay.
4.75.
Yeah, 4.75.
Yeah. I would actually be about 4.75, but I don't usually do that though. Okay. So I'm gonna go with 5. But
this is my first time, right? I'll do a 7.5.
I mean, I'll let people do whatever they want.
It's not a super action film, and the French Revolutionary stuff is actually past the first revolution, and they're trying to work through what kind of government monarchs they have a little bit later. So if you're a history buff, it's probably a movie that you'll want to fill in that part of what life might have been like in France during that time. So it's kind of good for that. Although you'll be beginning to think that it's like Oliver Twist or something like that with the accents, but remember that it is in France.
So I'd recommend it to anyone that likes musicals, but if you don't, then you won't like it.
Yeah.